Hello, everyone. This is Jonathan, the Associate Minister at Big Hill Christian Church, recording another video in our series we've been doing for Giving God April. I know Jim has recorded some of these, Jackie, I believe Joey's releasing one today, and really appreciate you checking these out on Facebook and watching them. If you haven't watched the others, I encourage you to do so. If you don't know, again, I do the college and career, which is really young adult classes. We meet Sunday mornings and Thursday nights. If anyone's interested in that, please don't hesitate to reach out. When I was asked to do this, I was told there was a theme for the week, and that theme was study. I loved it. I loved it because the college and career class, one of the things we've been doing recently is really focused on the idea of what is spiritual maturity, and that's caused us to study, to dive deeper into the Bible and in some books of the Bible that probably, I won't say you don't get read, but maybe not get focused on. We've read 1st and 2nd Samuel. We're in 1st Kings right now, Ecclesiastes, and other books, just kind of really exploring what spiritual maturity looks like. And we've done that through studying David as just an example. So again, the theme was study, but it's also Holy Week. Specifically, my understanding is this video is going to be released on Thursday, and my own study. This is a big day. Not that any day of Holy Week is really more important than the others. Obviously, Friday, the crucifixion is very important. But Thursday, Jesus addresses his disciples at the Passover feast for the last time. And John 13 through 17 has the longest account of things that happened at this meal. It's really interesting when you look at all that took place during this meal. And by no means this is a complete account in John. It's just the longest account. He washed the disciples' feet. He talks about communion at the Passover feast. He talks about his betrayal by one of his disciples. He talks about Peter going to deny him. He talks about the coming of the Holy Spirit. He says, I give you one more command, which is to love one another as I have loved you. And there's other things to go in that section. And he even concludes that section with a prayer where he prays for his disciples and prays for us, really, future Christians, future followers, to be blessed and to be protected. So it's a really significant passage that we could pick apart and do several videos on just that part of Holy Week. I want to focus on none of the things I just talked about, though, to focus on something else Jesus said during this time repeatedly. He talks about, and he kind of warns or is preparing the disciples by saying, I'm leaving, but I'm coming back. And he says this several times. And we know that, his death had been predicted. But here we are. He's got to imagine these men are in front of him. And he keeps saying, I'm leaving for a short time, but I'm coming back. I'm going to be back. He says this at least 3 times. In John 16:16, or starting at John 16:16, he tells them 2 more times, and within the group they start saying, what does he mean? In a little while he's going to come back. What does that mean? And he even says, I'm going to tell you what that means. And he basically gives them warning, and I'm going to give more detail about that in a second. But I want to go back to one of the first times he says this is John 14:28, and he says, "You've heard it said that I'm going to leave, and I'm going to come back. And if you've loved me, you should be happy." And that's put yourself in their shoes. You've been with Jesus. You've witnessed miracles. You've heard his words that have to come across just as genius thought at times, and it's probably scary to hear him say, "I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave," because you're like, what's next? What's next for me? What if he doesn't come back? There's this doubt, this worldly thought of, I know he said so many things and they've come true, but what if? And he says, hey, if you've loved me, you're going to be happy. And the reason that is he's talking about I'm going to come back better. When I come back, everything is going to be better. He's talked about how he's going to prepare a place for them, and how, that I'm making the way with the Father for you. Going back to the passages I talked about earlier in John, starting in John 16:16, he warns them that time while he's gone, that brief time he's gone. He said, "Hey, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough." I use the example of a mother going through labor, and he said, "You're going to grieve. There's going to be sorrow, but when I come back, there's going to be joy, never-ending joy, as it were." And that's kind of where I want to leave you is, a lot of college-age young adult people, statistically, we hear that's when they kind of come back to church, and that can be hard because they may have been in church and they went away and now they're back. And it's scary because, us not being Jesus, trying to be like Jesus, we worry, what if we're not accepted back? And that's where we, other people, have to be, number one, encouraging. So I encourage you to find the young adults in your life, or, maybe college age, really anybody. Doesn't have to be. I'm just kind of on my focus group there. To encourage them. They're like, hey, you can come back, because when you come back, there's great joy. You're this new thing. And maybe they didn't grow up in the church, and they just need to encourage, like, hey, it's really cool, what's going to happen. Jesus warns us the world's going to hate us for those changes, that transition, that scary time. For them, it's like we went away, but when we come back, we're this different thing, we're this better thing. And, the world will tell us, like, oh, I don't like that. But God tells us, Jesus tells us, like, that new thing is pretty amazing, pretty cool. So, again, I'll leave you with that to encourage you to realize, number one, becoming a Christian can be difficult, but, as you kind of go away as one thing, is come back as this new thing. Well, it's joy. And Jesus is kind of already said that. But, if you are a Christian, to understand that, Jesus told us, hey, when he comes back, this Easter thing, when I go away, it's going to be sad, but I've shown you the way. And then when I come back, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty amazing. So, again, hope that was encouraging, uplifting. If you've got any questions, please reach out. And again, I hope you've enjoyed everything. Thanks. Bye.